There are moments in life you never forget, moments so sharp they carve themselves into your memory forever. For me, it wasn't the smell of grilled goat meat filling the air that evening, or the chatter of family members dressed in bright Ankara, or even the joyous smiles on my parents' faces as they celebrated 35 years of marriage. No, the moment I will never forget was when my brother-in-law leaned close, his breath trembling against my ear, and whispered two words that changed everything. "Leave now." At first, I thought it was a joke, some strange attempt at humor. But before I could even form a response, the lights went out. And in that suffocating darkness, something began that none of us could have prepared for. This is not a tale of ghosts or spirits, though the fear that gripped me that night felt just as haunting. This is the story of family secrets, betrayal, and the razor-thin line between safety and disaster. The celebration had been planned for months. My parents, respected in our community in Lagos, had invited family, neighbors, and church members to their home. White tents had been set up outside the compound, with strings of fairy lights twinkling like captured stars. My mother wore a golden lace wrapper that shimmered with each movement, while my father, in his agbada, looked proud and regal. I had returned from Abuja the day before just to attend. My sister, Adiz, was there with her husband, Chaik, my brother-in-law. He was the quiet type, always reserved at family gatherings. The kind of man you could easily overlook if you weren't paying attention. The evening was full of laughter. Children ran about with plates of jollof rice, men argued over football at one corner, and women danced to the high-life music echoing from the speakers. I was sipping zobo when Chaik approached me. His face looked pale under the soft glow of the fairy lights, his eyes darting around as if searching for something, or someone. Without greeting, without even smiling, he leaned in close and whispered, "Leave now." I blinked at him, confused. "What?" "Don't ask questions," he muttered, his voice urgent, barely audible. "Just leave. Now." I laughed nervously, thinking it was some kind of prank. But before I could ask again, before I could demand an explanation, the compound plunged into complete darkness. The music stopped. The lights vanished. Even the fairy bulbs strung across the tent went black. All that remained was the collective gasp of over 50 people trapped in sudden, unnatural night. In Lagos, power outages were normal, but this felt different. The silence that followed was too heavy, too deliberate. No generator kicked in, no sound of switching. Just a suffocating blackness. Then, a scream. A woman's voice, sharp and terrified, cut through the air. Chairs toppled. Children cried. In the confusion, I stumbled, clutching my phone to switch on the flashlight. But just as I raised it, a hand gripped my wrist tightly. It was Chaik. "Don't turn it on," he hissed. "Do you want them to see you?" My heart raced. Them? Who was them? Before I could ask, distant footsteps echoed across the compound, steady, deliberate, too synchronized to belong to panicked guests. A strange metallic clinking accompanied the steps, as if machetes or chains were brushing against each other. "Stay low," Chaik muttered, pulling me behind the food table. My breath came in shallow bursts, my pulse drumming in my ears. The footsteps grew louder. The cries of guests turned to muffled whimpers, as if people were being silenced one by one. Suddenly, a flashlight beam cut across the compound, not from me, but from them. Men dressed in black, faces masked, moved like predators in the dark. Each one carried something, some with machetes, others with guns. Armed robbers. But why here? Why tonight? Why during my parents' anniversary? One of them barked orders in a harsh voice, demanding everyone lie flat on the ground. Another began kicking over tables, searching through handbags and pockets. Fear swallowed the air, the joyous celebration had become a nightmare. I crouched lower, trembling. Chaik's grip on my wrist was iron strong. He leaned close again. "You need to leave. If they see you," he stopped himself, his voice breaking. "Just trust me." I didn't understand. Why me? Why did I need to leave specifically? But there was no time to argue. From across the tent, I heard my father's voice. Strong, defiant, even in fear. Please, don't harm anyone. Take what you want, but leave us in peace. A loud slap silenced him, followed by my mother's cry. Rage surged through me, but Chike tightened his hold, forcing me still. They'll kill you if you try anything, he whispered. You don't know what's happening. We remained hidden as the robbers moved through the crowd. Some guests begged, others handed over their belongings. The sound of crying children tore at my heart. And then, one of the men shouted something that froze me completely. Find her. The others responded with a chilling certainty, spreading out with flashlights, searching every corner. Who are they looking for? I whispered, my throat dry. Chike's silence told me everything before he spoke. You. My stomach dropped. Me? Why? What did I do? He shook his head. This isn't random. This was planned. They came for you. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. Fear turned to confusion, and confusion to suspicion. My mind raced. Why would armed men target me at my parents' anniversary? Before I could speak again, one of the robbers' beams swept dangerously close to our hiding spot. Chike yanked me down just in time, covering my mouth with his hand to silence my gasp. The beam passed. But the weight of his words did not. They came for me. Minutes dragged like hours. The robbers continued terrorizing the guests, but their search was deliberate. They weren't satisfied with phones, wallets, or jewelry. Their voices kept repeating one command. Find her. I began to shake, my body betraying me. Chike kept glancing at me, his face tense, as if torn between choices. Finally, he leaned in again, his voice breaking into desperation. Listen carefully. If you want to live, you must leave this compound. Now. There's a small gate by the back, near the kitchen garden. Crawl there quietly, don't let them see you. I stared at him. And you? I'll distract them, he said simply. My chest tightened. This man, who barely spoke at family events, who always seemed detached, he was risking himself for me. But why? Before I could argue, another robber's flashlight swept across the food table. Chike pushed me lower, then stood up suddenly, drawing their attention. Over here, one of the men shouted, rushing toward him. It was the opening he had created for me. Heart pounding, I began crawling through the dark, my palms scraping against gravel, my breath shallow. Behind me, I heard the chaos intensify, shouts, scuffles, my mother's cries, and the robbers demanding answers from Chike. But I couldn't stop. I had to reach that gate. The garden path felt endless. My knees were raw from crawling, my fingers trembling as I groped in the dark. Finally, my hand brushed against the cold iron bars of the small back gate. Relief flooded me. But as I reached for the latch, a voice sliced through the night behind me. Going somewhere? I froze. Slowly, I turned. One of the masked men stood there, his machete gleaming faintly even in the darkness. His flashlight beam landed squarely on my face. My blood turned to ice. Before I could scream, he lunged. The machete came down in a swift arc, the blade catching what little light remained. I stumbled backward, my hand instinctively grabbing at the iron gate latch. My fingers slipped once, twice, sweaty with fear, before finally hooking the latch loose. The man's blade missed my arm by inches, slamming into the gate's bars with a metallic clang. Sparks flew. I pushed the gate open with all my strength and bolted into the night, my bare feet pounding against the dirt road that stretched behind my parents' compound. Catch her, the robber roared. Shouts erupted behind me. My lungs burned, my heart a hammer inside my chest. I ran blindly, guided only by the weak glow of a distant street light. My wrapper tangled around my legs, slowing me down, but adrenaline pushed me forward. Then, another hand grabbed me from the shadows. I screamed, thrashing wildly, until the figure hissed sharply. "Quiet, it's me." It was Chaik. His face glistened with sweat, his shirt torn. Blood trickled from his forehead, but his eyes, sharp and desperate, were locked on mine. "Run," he urged, pulling me down a narrow side path. "They'll kill you if they catch you." We dashed together, weaving through the back alleys of the neighborhood. Dogs barked from compounds, neighbors peeked through windows, but no one dared step outside. Lagos at night was no place to expect help when armed men were involved. Finally, we ducked behind a rusted water tank near an abandoned kiosk. My chest heaved, my vision blurred from exhaustion. I turned on him. "What is going on? Why are they after me?" Chaik pressed his back against the wall, listening for footsteps. When none came, he looked at me, his expression twisted with conflict. "This isn't random," he said slowly. "They didn't come to rob everyone. They came for you specifically." His words made my stomach turn. "Me? Why?" Chaik hesitated. "Because someone in your family sent them." The world tilted. "What are you talking about?" "I overheard them before the power went out," he explained, voice low but urgent. "They said they were promised money if they delivered you. Someone close to you arranged this. Someone here tonight." My mind spun. My family? My blood? Who among them would want me taken, or worse? My parents? Never. My brother? No. Adiz? My sister loved me, didn't she? The thought clawed at my chest. I shook my head in disbelief. That doesn't make sense. Why would anyone? Suddenly, flashlights swept across the path nearby. Voices echoed. They were searching. Chaik grabbed my arm again. "We can't stay here. If you want the truth, you'll have to survive the night first." We slipped further into the dark, moving away from the noise. My body trembled, not just from fear but from the crushing realization that the danger wasn't faceless strangers. It was someone close. Someone I had shared meals with. As we reached the edge of the neighborhood, Chaik stopped abruptly. Ahead of us, blocking the only open road, stood two masked men. One carried a gun. The other, a machete. My breath caught in my throat. Behind us, more footsteps closed in. We were trapped. The two masked men stood ahead of us like shadows carved from the night, their weapons glinting faintly. Behind, more footsteps thundered closer. My chest tightened, this was it. There was nowhere left to run. Chaik's hand tightened around mine. "When I say run, run to the left," he whispered. His voice was steady, but I could feel the tremor in his grip. Before I could respond, one of the masked men stepped forward, lifting his gun. "We don't want him," the man said coldly, pointing at Chaik. His flashlight beam landed on my face. "We want her. Hand her over, and maybe we let you walk away." The words sliced through me. My knees weakened. It was true, Chaik hadn't been lying. They were here for me. "Why me?" I shouted, my voice breaking. "What do you want from me?" The man chuckled darkly. "Not us. Ask your family." The admission hit harder than the night air. Someone in my own bloodline had done this. Chaik stepped in front of me. "You'll have to kill me first." The gunman sneered. "That can be arranged." The standoff stretched for seconds that felt like eternity. My heart pounded, my breath shallow, every muscle in my body frozen. Then, a voice rang out from behind us. "Stop!" I spun. Through the shadows, someone was walking toward us. My eyes widened in disbelief. It was Adiz, my sister. Her wrapper was loose, her hair disheveled from the chaos, but her face carried a chilling calmness. The robbers lowered their weapons slightly as if they recognized her. One of them muttered, "We had a deal." My stomach dropped. Adiz. My voice was barely a whisper. You brought them?" Her eyes met mine, cold and unflinching. "You were never supposed to be here tonight." The words twisted like a knife in my chest. I shook my head violently. "Why? Why would you do this?" Her voice trembled, not with guilt, but with anger. "All my life, you've been the golden child. The one our parents adore, the one everyone praises. Do you know what it's like to live in your shadow? To always be second, no matter what I do?" Tears stunned my eyes. "So you wanted me killed?" Adiz's lips pressed into a thin line. "I just wanted you gone. Forever." The robbers shifted impatiently. "We don't have time for this. Hand her over." Chaik moved again, blocking me. "Over my dead body." The gun cocked. My body froze. My sister looked away, almost unable to watch. But then, in that moment of distraction, Chaik lunged. He shoved me hard to the side as the gun fired. The bullet cracked through the night. Chaik staggered, falling to his knees. Blood spread across his shirt. "No!" I screamed, crawling to him, my hands trembling as I pressed against the wound. His eyes locked on mine, pained but determined. "Run," he rasped. "Don't let them win." With the last of his strength, he shoved me away again. The chaos that followed was a blur: shouts, gunfire, neighbors roused by the noise, sirens in the distance. The robbers scattered like shadows, disappearing into the night. Adiz fled with them, her face the last thing I saw before the police stormed the scene. Chaik died before dawn. My parents wept until their voices broke, unable to comprehend that the daughter they loved had betrayed her own blood. Adiz vanished. Some said she escaped to Ghana, others whispered she was caught by the same men she trusted. I don't know the truth, and maybe I never will. But I know this: the scars of that night will never fade. I learned that betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. It can wear the face you love most, the voice you grew up with, the hand you thought would always protect you. And sometimes, the darkness we fear outside is nothing compared to the darkness that grows inside our own families.